Hello, everyone. This is StrawberryShorty back with Last Kiss of Summer. 26 days left. And I'm actually going to check and make sure the volume is on, just because there was not really a sound for that. Okay, let's go. See, I feel like we should be having sound for this.
If you don't stop, I'll make sure that both of you are expelled from Rosenberry High.
Susan's face is fierce and unwavering, unlike her voice, which cracks as she makes her threat. This isn't just anger, this is fear. See, I can't tell if this is supposed to have sound. Yeah, so I restarted the game, and now there's sound, so I hope this one doesn't start having troubles like the other one. What's so wrong with us trying to figure out what happened? Kind of cool music.
I don't need to explain myself to you. Just leave the past in the past and quit meddling.
The past never just stays in the past. It lives on and it affects the present. Julie is haunted by it. Can't you see that?
She needs to get over it.
The only way she'll be able to is if she knows the truth.
You don't understand anything.
Then tell me. Help me understand. Or is there something you're afraid we'll uncover?
What? Of course not. Don't be silly. Why would there be?
Susan turns and runs away, leaving me confused. That girl is definitely up to something. I was worried she was going to be invisible for a moment, but she turned up. I turned to see Saya standing behind me, her arms crossed and her eyes narrowed as she watches Susan disappear into the distance. How long have you been there? Notice how her bracelet has 4 hearts on it? For the 4 friends? The whole time. She's hiding something. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm going to start tagging along with you to school to keep an eye on Susan. What? No, I thought you said school was boring, or maybe that's a good idea. I'm going to say it's a good idea because, we need help for this, and, let Saya be part of the story, and plus I really suspect she's friends with her. Maybe that's a good idea. Of course it is. I came up with it. But don't distract me, okay? You got to keep quiet. What? No one can hear me. I can hear you. And you love it. Now, off to bed. We have a big day of sleuthing ahead. 23 days left. Wasn't it 26 a moment ago, or am I crazy? Let me look at the log. Yeah, it was 26 days left. What have we been doing? Wow. Why does every building in this school look so weird? Or every room. Like, everything's red in here. Julie and I decided to lay low for a few days and concentrate on our project.
What do you think about this?
Julie shows me a chart and looks at me expectantly. It looks great. It's easy to understand and see the connections.
It's all thanks to you explaining it all to me.
The book makes it sound so complicated. Well, I guess that means we're done prepping.
Finally, thank you for being my partner, Shorty. Thanks to you, I could do all the stuff I'm hopeless at.
You're not as hopeless as you think. I'm glad to hear that, or so what do I get in return? I'm going to say you're not as hopeless as you think. You're not as hopeless as you think.
No, I'm a disaster, but thanks.
Julie blushes as she starts to pack up. I'm sure you have lots of talents. What do you like to do? Wasn't she the one who bakes?
Well, I'm good at charts, apparently.
Hey, that's cheating. Julie laughs and we head out the door to go home. We're gonna run into someone? I knew it would be Mira. She's got the scary eyes again. Like, is this a design error or something? Because her eyes are literally changing color. As we head in the hall, I spot Mira staring at the trophy case. Why does she look so sad? Ask her what's wrong, try to surprise her, or greet her like normal. Ask her what's wrong. Hey, Mira, what's wrong? Mira jolts and looks over at us.
Shorty, Julie, what are you two doing here?
We were working on our project. What about you? Is something wrong? Mira shakes her head and spins around, the case at her back and an exaggerated smile on her face.
Nope, I was just thinking about what to do before going home.
I look at Julie and suddenly a thought pops into my head. This is the perfect chance to get them talking to each other. Hey, Julie, Mira, how about we all go to a cafe together?
A cafe? Now?
Yeah, do you have time?
Well, I guess, if Julie's cool with it, that is.
What do you think, Julie? Julie grips her bag tighter, and I'm certain she's going to decline, but to my surprise, she nods.
Great, we can go to my favorite one. Follow me.
I thought that if we went together, Mira and Julie would start talking, but they're just sitting across from each other in silence. Mira stirs the ice cubes in her drink while Julie blows on her already cooled hot chocolate. If it gets cold, it tastes like chocolate milk. So how long has it been since you two hung out? Mira shrugs and Julie continues to blow on her drink. This is pretty bad. Sai's voice startles me and I mouth a desperate plea to her, asking for help. These two both need some strong pushing or you're never going to get them to open up. I mean, I actually think I've gotten them both to open up pretty well, just not to each other. Ask directly why they're not friends anymore. I need to know. Why does Saya care so much about them? Isn't she supposed to be my helper? Yeah, this protagonist is really got nothing on the locker of death guy. But she's right. The only way to get them to talk is to just be direct. Okay, I have to ask her. It's going to bug me all day. Or rather, Saya will bug me all day. Ask what? Ask what? I want to know why you two aren't friends anymore. Mira's face again. Mira's face drops and she's suddenly very interested in her ice again. I just don't get it. You two are both great, kind people. What could have happened for you to have grudges like this? It's not a grudge. What is it then? Julie's loud, cracking voice rips through the silence and Mira looks at her in shock. Because I could never figure it out, Mira. Why would you just leave me alone like that? We were like sisters before. I just don't get it. Suddenly, Mira is sobbing and tears start to fall down Julie's cheeks as well. Whoa, I did not see that coming. Neither did I. It's not like that, Julie. It's just, when Sayuri died, my sister Sora did too. Everybody's dying. What happened to Sora? Julie grabs a bunch of paper napkins and hands them to Mira, who sobs into them. Were their deaths related? Mira shakes her head. No, but the timing, it was awful. I didn't know, Mira. Wow, how awful for Mira to lose her sister and her friend. I just thought you'd abandon me, that maybe you were my friend only because of Sayuri, that... Julie wipes her tears and I rub at her back as she tries to calm herself down. No, I was just overwhelmed. It all happened in the same week. I reach out for Mira's hand and squeeze it as I continue to rub Julie's back. I mean, I don't really get why this would lead you stop no longer being friends with Julie. Like, why would you cut off your only support? That must have been awful. I can't even imagine. Mira nods and takes some controlled breaths before continuing. Everyone was pulling me, you know, friends, family. I just hid from it all in my room. To tell the truth, I just wanted to end it all. Julie jumps up and runs around to Mira's side of the table to hug her tightly. I'm so sorry, Mira. I wish I knew. I wish I wasn't so absorbed in my own pain. No, Julie, I'm sorry. I should have at least told you. They cry in each other's arms and Saya sighs. It's really too bad that such a misunderstanding put a wedge between good friends like this. I speak softly so the girls can't hear me. Yeah, but at least they're reconciling now. Maybe you should invite Mira into the investigation? That's a great idea. Maybe I should ask Julie, or I don't want to bother her with it. I'll say that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I know, right? I'm a genius. But the girls are still hugging and apologizing. Maybe I should wait till they're done. No, do it now. This is boring to watch. Well, I'm sorry you're not entertained by their pain, Saya. I nod and put a hand on Mira's shoulder. Hey, Mira, I've got something to ask you. Stop crying. What is it? Julie and I, well, we're investigating what happened with Sayuri. What? What do you mean? We want to know what happened. We were left in the dark, remember? Yeah, they never told us anything. Exactly, so Shorty and I are trying to solve the mystery of her death. But how? It's not like it was a murder or anything, or was it? Right, but there's information somewhere about what happened, and if the adults won't give it to you, I'm going to help you find it. That's actually pretty cool. So, do you want to join us? Mira looks at Julie in shock. Can I, even after everything that's happened? Julie nods happily. I want us to be friends again. I want to do this with you and Shorty. Mira squeals and wraps Julie and I up in a hug. Yes, I want to help. Thank you. She grins at Julie. We'll be partners in crime, just like the old days. Now we gotta get Susan in on this. But I still think Susan is connected. After the cafe, Julie and I wave Mira goodbye and start to walk home together. I'm glad Mira's joined us. I never thought we'd be friends again. I'm glad too. Suddenly, Julie takes my hand and looks up at me. Come with me. I want to show you something special. Go with Julie or go home. Oh, my gems. Go with Julie. I smile and squeeze her hand as I nod. Okay, let's go. Saya waves goodbye to me as Julie and I head off. Wow, this place is beautiful. I didn't know we had a place like this in town. We've never been outside. Julie smiles and points to a small house on the hill. My cousin lives up there, so I know these woods pretty well. Ah, so is this your secret place? Julie blushes and shakes her head quickly. No, it's not like that. It's just... She shivers and I pull her close to me, rubbing her arms to help her warm up. She puts her head on my shoulder and lets out a contented sigh.
It's really beautiful here at sunset and at night, but I'm afraid to come here by myself.
What's so bad about coming by yourself?
Oh, you know, bears and boars and snakes and stuff.
Julie laughs and leads me over to a tree. We sit down and she puts her head back on my shoulder as I wrap my arm around her.
Thank you, Shorty, for earlier with Mira.
What did I do? It was all you two.
But you brought us together and you offered to have her help us. Even though she was understanding, I still couldn't bring myself to ask her to join, so I'm glad you did. I think, without your help, we may have graduated without ever making up.
I'm sure that eventually you would have...
No, Shorty, don't you see what I'm trying to say? You've been giving me all sorts of hope lately. All sorts of strength, too. It makes me wonder, maybe that's the reason you were put here.
The reason I was put here?
Yeah, maybe it's not a coincidence that you came here when you did.
That's a pretty big task to put on someone, reuniting friends and solving mysteries. Julie laughs and snuggles into me, wrapping her arms around my waist.
I feel like the moment you came to our school, something was put into motion.
She looks up at me and smiles.
I want to know what else is going to happen.
Is there anything that you want to have happen? Julie blushes and hides her face.
Maybe since something happened for me and Mira.
She uncovers her face and looks at me again, finishing her sentence quietly.
Maybe something will happen for you too?
She hugs me, burying her face in the crook of my neck and sighs.
I'm gonna miss you when you're gone.
Don't worry about that, okay? Let's just treasure our moments together without worrying about the future. Julie hugs me tightly and nods. By the time I get home, it's already dark, but the romantic music is still playing.
Hey, look!
Sigh a sudden presence-sexy jump and I put my hand on my heart. Is it going to be Susan again?
Don't scare me like that. Don't be a baby, but heads up, Susan's waiting for you. I called it.
I look at my doorstep and sure enough, there's Susan, waiting. Susan, what are you doing here? Without looking at me, she holds out an envelope. It's a different texture and style than her.
I'm giving this to you on one condition.
What's that?
Don't tell anyone where you got it from.
Is it money? Okay, I won't. Susan hands it over and I look inside. Sayuri's records from the nurse's office. Darn it, it's in code. What made you change your mind? How did you get these? Or why don't you want anyone to know? I'll say what made you change your mind. What made you change your mind?
Do I have to tell you everything?
No, but it's odd. You just told me to stop poking around or you'd have me expelled. Something must have happened for you to have this big a change of heart.
Can't you just be happy and leave it at that? I heard you guys at the cafe. I heard what Mira and Julie said to each other, and...
She really is stalking me. Susan shakes her head and looks up toward the stars.
I wanted to help, but I don't know how much more I can.
Susan shakes her head again and starts walking.
Forget it. I'm going home.
But I want to hear more. Invite Susan inside to talk. Tell her thanks. I'm inviting her inside. I want to hear more. Susan, wait. Come inside for a bit. Susan pauses and turns to look at me.
Come inside? Why?
We haven't had time to talk at all, and I want this wall between us to go down. I just want to talk, please? Susan sighs and nods.
Fine, but I'm leaving once I get bored.
Look at you, Shorty, sneaking a girl into your room at night. I flash Saya a look and she smirks before pretending to zip her mouth shut.
Your room looks so normal.
Is there a reason it shouldn't?
I guess since you're dying and all, I expected medical equipment. But you're just fine at school, so I suppose that checks out.
Yeah, when I was younger we had a bunch, but now I'm okay with just medicine. What is wrong with us exactly? Susan looks at me curiously.
Are you in pain?
I nod and her face softens into slight worry. When I do anything physical, there's some pain. But I'm used to it by this point, so it's like background noise.
That sounds awful.
I don't know, it's annoying, but it's just something I gotta deal with, like my brother. Susan laughs and nods.
Okay, I think I get it, but it must be so hard.
She walks up to me and puts a hand on my chest.
Is this where it hurts?
I laugh and nod. Yes, that's where my lungs are. Good job. Susan groans and smacks my chest playfully. This music got real upbeat.
Don't make fun of me when I'm being kind.
She sits down on my bed and I take a seat next to her. So, I heard what happened between Mira and Julie, but what about you? Why aren't you friends with them anymore? Susan hangs her head and sighs.
It's all my fault. I was a coward and it cost me everything.
What do you mean? Susan shakes her head and then looks around my room again.
Is this the first time you've had a girl in your room?
Oh, she's good at avoiding the question. Yeah, the first living girl. What about, Mira? I glare at Saya and she cackles like a cartoon villain. I'm about to tell her to be quiet when suddenly Susan leans in, her face close to mine.
Is doing anything with girls on your bucket list?
I laugh nervously, not sure what to do. Well, it would be nice. Susan's face comes closer and she laughs, her breath playing on my lips.
Well, maybe, if you behave.
Her hand is back on my chest.
I can help with that.
She closes her eyes and leans in. I close my eyes too, and there's a knock on the door. Thank goodness, my gems. Not that I would have spent gems to kiss her, because, we just met. And she's just doing it to distract me. I jump up as my mom's voice comes to the door.
Shorty, are you home?
Yeah, I'll be out in a minute. Okay, dinner's in 10.
I'm gonna go home.
She comes up to me and gives me a quick peck on the lips before she pulls back, blushing. Another forward girl.
Maybe next time, okay?
I nod and lead Susan back outside. What, does she climb out the window?
Hey, Shorty, I have a question before I go.
What is it?
Would you have rather your parents lied to you about your disease and hidden it, or are you happy knowing?
I never thought about it, but I guess I'm happier knowing. I don't know if I'd be happier knowing, but I think not having much time left and not knowing would also suck. It's like you can't win either way. Susan nods and turns to walk home without another word. Now, time to dive into these records. Oh, that's cruel. I mean, we still have another ticket, but that's messed up. Continue on. I want the information. What happened to Saya? "22 days left." Why is it 22? I want to know what the files say. I meet Julia and Mira. Julia? I thought it was Julie. I can't keep track anymore. Eager to show them the contents of the envelope. We sit at a table and sift through the documents together, trying to find some clues.
I still don't believe that Susan would give us this after, well, everything.
Yeah, it is Julie.
It is curious, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right?
So I heard why you two stopped being friends, but Susan was your friend too, right?
That's right.
What happened there? Mira sighs and sulks into her chair with a shrug.
To be honest, I don't know what got into her. It was weird. Just after Sayuri died, Susan went cold as ice, froze everyone out.
So not just you two, but everyone?
That's right. She was one of the most popular girls at school before. Everyone liked her. And then suddenly she did like a whole Jekyll and Hyde switcheroo.
That is weird.
I know, right? Like at first I thought it was just toward me since I was busy with my own problems. But then I realized that she was acting that way to Julie too. And everyone else in the class, even the teachers, I think they were the most shocked. Hey, you find anything in those notes yet? I got nothing.
Julie shakes her head and sets down the papers. How many papers were there?
No, these notes are too vague for me to make out anything. However, there are quite a few more visits than I thought there were.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure, but my intuition tells me there's something to it. Oh yeah, look, she went 3 times this day. Yes, toward the end, the frequency rapidly increased. And the symptoms, dizziness, headaches too, all over the place. She must have been sick with something.
Mira sighs and rests her head on the table.
I wish we could talk to Sayuri and ask what's going on.
It's too bad she didn't leave a letter or anything for you guys. Julie gasps and hits the table a few times excitedly.
She did! Her diary! Her diary? Yes, well, it's not exactly a letter, but Sayuri always wrote about her day in her diary. Oh yeah, I see where you're going with this. It might have clues. We should definitely look at her diary.
But isn't that private? Are you going to look at my journal when I die? Or good thinking, Julie? I'll just say good thinking. Because, that's kind of part of the point of writing a diary, is with the idea that someone might read it someday. And stress relief. I write in my diary all the time. Good thinking, Julie.
Hey, I was part of it too.
I laugh and pat Mira on her head. Yes, good job to you too, Mira. I want information. Let's go find the diary. Mira laughs back and grins.
Okay, so how are we going to get the diary?
Julie's face falls and she sinks back into her chair.
Oh, yes. Getting it might be difficult. It's at her house, after all. Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Can't you just ask her mom for it? Yeah, it's been a year since your daughter died, but can we have her diary? The girls' eyes go wide and they quickly shake their heads in unison.
No way! It's impossible. You think Susan is bad. Sayuri's mom it's like she hates us. I think maybe we're too much of a painful reminder of Sayuri. Don't excuse her. She isn't just rude to us now, she's outright mean. It's totally impossible to get her mom to help.
Why don't I go? How about a family friend? Or a distraction might work. I'll say a distraction because I feel like stealing it's the best option. I don't agree with stealing, but why would she give it to me? A distraction might work.
A distraction? What do you mean?
I could go there, pretend to be selling something for some fundraiser. Julie can set off a firework, and while her mom's distracted, Mira can...
Shorty, you watch too much TV. It's a fun idea, though.
Mira gasps and stands up, clapping her hands together.
I've got it. I know what we can do.
21 days left. Mira's plan leads us to Sayuri's house the next day. Back to quiet music. It's surprisingly close to my place, so it doesn't take me long to find. Is she wearing her gym outfit? I want to see them all in their color-coded gym clothes.
Yo, you made it.
I couldn't leave you hanging.
All right, Shorty, you got your lines memorized?
I sure do. I stayed up all night practicing them with Saya. I want to get this right.
Awesome, let's hear it.
Right now?
Yep, gotta make sure it sounds believable. Go on, show me what you got.
I take a deep breath, clear my throat, and go for it. Hello, Miss Yamane. I'm on the yearbook committee and we're making a profile of Sayuri to include in the yearbook. As she would have been graduating this year, we thought it would be a great way to include her with the graduating class. Would you mind if I came in to talk with you a bit about Sayuri and perhaps see her room to take pictures? Why would we take pictures of her room for the school? Like, that's just weird. Unless they mean go to her room and take actual physical pictures. At the end of my lines, I smile nervously at Mira, hoping that I got it right.
Perfect. You didn't miss a single word.
Mira gives me a quick kiss on the cheek before pushing me toward the door. All these girls are kissing me.
Now break a leg. We'll hide nearby.
Mira runs off to hide behind some bushes, and I take another deep breath before knocking on the door. It doesn't take long before it opens, and a beautiful woman stands in front of me. She's got such lovely features, doesn't she? Miss Yamane?
Yes, what is it?
I do yearbook and graduation. Let me start over. My heart is racing, and suddenly I see Saya next to Miss Yamane. Repeat after me. I'm on the yearbook committee, and we're making a profile of Sayuri. Saya to the rescue. I'm on the yearbook committee. Are you now?
Mention the profile.
Yes, we're doing a profile on Sayuri for graduation. She steps forward and looks at me suspiciously.
Uh-oh, I don't think she's buying it.
What's your name, and who's the teacher in charge of the yearbook?
The teacher,
Say it's Mr. Rick, ignore the question, ask about Sayuri, tell her you're new and don't remember. Mr. Rick is the gym teacher, what if she knows that? I'll just say it's Mr. Rick. It's Mr. Rick! She raises an eyebrow. Darn it. It is my understanding that Mr. Rick is the PE teacher. He does both, yeah? He does both. Teacher salaries, you know? I'm giving you one more chance, boy. Who's the teacher? You know, it's curious that you came here today asking about this. Oh, why is that? Because just 2 days ago, the real yearbook committee was here. Busted, what should I do? So who are you, and what are you really doing here? Abort mission, Shorty! Abort mission now! Run, apologize, stick to your story. What do I do? None of these options feel like I don't want to run. Apologize, she's on to us. But I'm going to stick to my story. Well, you see, I'm on the committee too, but we had some gaps. Some gaps? Yes, they wanted some follow-up info. Nice save. Not interested. Leave me alone. See, we should have gone with my firework plan. She closes the door and I sigh before walking away dejected.
Shorty, follow me.
Mira leads us to a park and we sit down next to each other on a bench. She grabs her head and groans.
Mission failed. Ugh.
I'm sorry, I tripped up when speaking to her. I mean, it wouldn't have worked regardless because she already had that visit.
No, it's not your fault. No way we could have known the yearbook committee had already been by.
Random CG.
That really puts a wrench in things. I don't know how we're going to get the diary now.
We'll figure out a way.
And now we're going to have to tell Julie that we failed.
Unless Julie climbed in and stole it while we were talking. She'll understand, don't worry.
I'm always letting my friends down every single time.
She grips at her hair and whimpers.
Maybe I don't deserve friends.
Give Mira a hug, tell her to stop being so hard on herself. Oh, my gems again. I wrap my arms around Mira and pull her close, making her gasp in surprise. You gotta stop thinking that way. I also hate never knowing if the game is gonna do that thing that Time Only Knows did, where it, like, locks some of the routes depending on what you pick. You gotta stop thinking that way. Mira's body relaxes, resting on mine as I hug her tighter. You're just stressing yourself out.
It's hard not to, though.
She looks up at me and I can see the defeat written all over her face, but hope isn't completely gone yet.
I always seem to fall short, you know? I try my best, but nothing seems to pan out.
But trying your best is exactly what's important, not the results.
What good is simply trying my best if I'm never able to do what I aim to?
Because people count on others to try, they count on that feeling of wanting to do something. And not everything can be solved in a day, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, take this mission. We're on here to figure out Sayuri's death. Getting the diary isn't the only piece of the puzzle, it's just one thing. Even if we can't get it, not all is lost.
But it will be harder.
Maybe, but we know we can count on you to try. Besides, we're always a bit closer to the finish just because we tried, right?
I guess so.
She slips her hand into mine and starts to rub my thumb with hers.
It's just, everyone sees me as the happy girl, you know? So bright and positive, I think they depend on that. And so that makes these times like these so hard. Everyone expects me to be cheerful even if we lose, but I just want to show how I really feel.
You're doing that with me, though. You're not acting happy. She smiles at me and squeezes my hand.
I know. Somehow, it feels safe to just be me as long as I'm with you.
She blushes and drops her gaze. I pat her on the head and pull her in for another hug. I'm glad you feel that way. I feel relaxed when I'm with you, too. I kiss the top of her head and smile. Having a safe place to just feel things out is important, so you can cry on my shoulder anytime.
Do you mean that? Because I just might take you up on it.
It would be my pleasure. This time, it's Mira who hugs me and she gives me a quick kiss on the cheek. Oh, a kiss. What was that for? Mira giggles as her face turns red.
Do I need a reason?
Well, no, but I'm curious.
I'll leave it to your imagination, then.
She kisses my other cheek and giggles once again before standing up.
We should probably get going, yeah?
Sounds good to me. Where to?
I suppose we should go tell Julie what happened.
I nod and take her outstretched hand. All right, let's go. I really want us to show up and Julie just has the diary, but apparently not. After telling Julie what happened, I come home and flop down onto my bed, exhausted. Can Saya interact with physical objects? Can we send her to get it? Julie was so disappointed.
Hey, stop looking so glum.
I have good reason to.
Weren't you just telling Mira earlier that it will all work out?
Yeah, but do you really think it will?
Stay strong, Shorty. Between the three of you, you'll definitely figure something out.
A clicking sound from the window draws Saya's attention and she looks outside. Is it Susan with a diary?
Well, if it isn't Susan.
Susan, she's here?
Is this going to be a regular occurrence?
I head downstairs to talk to Susan and catch her just before she throws another pebble at my window. Can't you just text like a normal person?
I prefer more retro ways of communication.
She smirks and walks up closer to me.
So, what did you find in the file? Anything useful?
Some clues, but nothing conclusive yet. We tried to get her diary for more info.
Her diary? But that would be at her house.
Yeah, well, we tried to pretend we were the yearbook committee so we could go in and get it. Susan raises an eyebrow and stares at me for a moment before shaking her head.
Oh man, that plan was doomed from the start and you should have known that.
She sighs and shakes her head again.
Sorry, I'm doing it again.
Doing what?
Lashing out. I'm working on it, I really am, but I don't know. I'm frustrated about so many things. I just need a way to settle my emotions.
So just taking a walk together or tell her to do something relaxing. Oh my gosh, it's like 3 gems, this video. Well, a walk always helps me. Do you want to go on one? Susan's face lights up with surprise.
Together? With me?
Sure, why not? I've got a lot of frustration myself. Susan nods.
Okay, but I don't really go on walks that much, so you lead the way.
Sounds good to me. Do you want to go to the river or the park?
The park.
The park it is. Let's go. Doesn't physical activity hurt me? So Susan, can I ask what's bothering you so much?
Why do you want to know?
I don't think you're such a bad person. You act hostile towards me, but something tells me it's not about me. So what is it about?
Well, you aren't completely free of blame for my mood toward you.
I'm not? What did I do?
Really? You ruined my perfect ranking, you jerk.
She playfully pushes me with a laugh.
I know you're new here and all, but I've held that rank since kindergarten. Kindergarten! You knocking that crown off my head was a huge blow.
Does it help if I say it was nothing personal? It'll go back up once I'm gone, you know. Susan frowns and stops in her tracks to look at me.
How can you joke about your own death like that? Are you sad, scared? Don't you want to live?
I shrug and try to put into words what I felt about my situation this whole time. I'm sad to die, of course, but I've had a good life. It sounds like we've barely done anything, though. Not everyone has what I've had. So many people live and die horribly. But me, I'm lucky I can have so many wonderful experiences, you know, such as going to school for like a month. I lean forward, grinning in Susan's face. Walking with a pretty girl in the park. Susan's cheeks turn bright red and she pushes me away before turning around and covering her face. Why doesn't she have a blushing sprite?
Stop flirting, Shorty.
I laugh and she looks at me again with an annoyed face. But that's part of the experience of life. If you were in my place, what would you want to do? Susan's blush had been receding, but it quickly comes back in full force. She shakes her head.
Stop it, Shorty. You're embarrassing me.
I take her hand, making her gasp and look up at me with wide eyes. Would you want to go on a date with a cute guy? Why would I want to go on a date with you? Does that mean you think I'm cute? Oh, so you think I'm cute, do you? Susan groans and pulls her hand out of mine before walking back the way we came. Hey, wait up, what's wrong? Susan turns around and glares at me. Now I have something else bothering my emotions, so we may as well go back. She turns back around sharply and makes a beeline out of the park. I laugh to myself as I follow her. She's kind of cute in her own way, isn't she? Oh, one last thing before I go home. What's that? Susan crosses her arms and smirks. I have an idea of how we're going to get that diary. Really? Tell me. We're going to break it and steal it. See, that's what I suggested, but everyone was against it. Chapter end. Well, now they've grouped the girls together because they ran out of clothes. So, what'd you think of this part? Let me know in the comments. I still really am invested in the mystery of Sayuri's death. Frustrated that the protagonist is not figuring out things that I think are pretty obvious, but, well, I have meta viewpoint, so. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!